Hi ma'am, I am Kathleen J.C. Manangkila, and to this topic I will discuss the topics HIG. So, I will start at H, the Philippines promoting good local governance through performance-based grants. The government of the Philippines decided the best way to encourage openness was to reward it. In line with having administrative aims for good governance, the DILG launched two programs that seek to promote and incentivize it at the local level. The Seal of Good Housekeeping and the Performance Challenge Fund. The Seal of Good Housekeeping assesses LGU and whether they attain minimum governance standards. LGU must meet two standards to be conferred with the Seal of Good Housekeeping. First, the LGU must comply with full disclosure policy by posting budgetary documents online and then in their bulletin boards. Second, the LGU must have no serious negative findings in its annual audit report published by the Commission on Audit. So LGU that receives the seal are provided with a performance-based grants which they can use to supplement funding for local development projects. The FISI programs provides a subsidy of 1 million for municipalities, 3 million and 7 million for provinces. Projects to be funded must contribute to the attainment of the Millennium Development Goals. Tourism and local economic development, disaster risk reduction and management, and solid waste management. To those low-income municipalities and cities, these local government units often have to rely on their provincial governments or district representative in Congress to provide supplement funding for their local projects. Projects financed by the PCF include school buildings, rural health units, waste and sanitation system, local roads and bridges, slaughterhouses, flood control, reforestation, post-harvest facilities, cold storage facilities, among others. So, what were the key factors in allowing this effort to succeed? So, what are the emerging opportunities as a result? Civil society has a vital part of the two new incentive programs. Civil society organizations were able to become members of regional and provincial teams that reviewed and validated the assessment reports on housekeeping. So, how have citizens benefited from this reform? In 2012, a total of 77% or 1,327 out of 1,713 LGUs or 71 provinces, 111 cities, and 1,145 municipalities were conferred with a seal of good housekeeping. The seal and the Performance Challenge Fund have had benefits increasing transparency in local government, notable budgets and plans by incentivizing compliance with a full disclosure, instilling prudence and discipline in local fund management, and providing an initial benchmark for good local governance by identifying concrete assessment criteria. So what did not go as planned? Challenge remain. The government aims to engage more civil society organizations in the monitoring and evaluation of the two projects and to set ever higher standard for winning the seal of good housekeeping. So letter G, the participatory governance the Philippines experience. So people power and the rise and fall of the Philippines presidents. Peoples in 1986 experienced thought the Filipinos that they could bring charges in government if they remain vigilant and if they participate in the process and governance themselves. In the maelstrom of martial law, NGOs and POs considered in their duty to augment basic service delivery to the neglected areas. The Aquino regime, which was brought to power through a coalition of different sectors including coast-oriented groups, strengthened people power in the 1987 Constitution and operationalized the concept in grassroots governance through 1991 LGC. So participation and governance. The American brought to the Philippines a system of public education and introduced an alien form of politics and government. Spaniards, where only the elite were educated in parochial school and friar-run universities. American taught Filipinos the 3 R's in English: language, and in 1900 introduced the civil service system in the government and the electoral process in politics. Sakharyan New in 2000 described democracy the system of relationship between the governor and the government that blends their distinctive rules so that citizens are not simply rolled over but have more to say in matters affecting their lives. Briones in 1992 said that this participation at present requires that citizens are involved right from the start and have a direct heart in planning and managing projects. The participation decentralized government enables people to participate more directly in governance processes and can help empower people previously excluded to decision making because participation becomes more feasible when government is decentralized. Governance is partnership between the local government and the people. Involvement of the people has been found as necessary ingredients for local project success on many successful projects. It is the practice of many successful programs. People participation occurs at the local and national levels. The Marcos regime in 1986 is almost drowning in the people voices asking for an end to the leadership. So letter G, towards greater local democratic governance. So the revolution swept across the country from one end to the other, from the smallest barangay to municipalities, cities, and provinces. When we speak of decentralized governance and empowerment in the country today, the talk will include not only how most local governments have taken full advantage of the greater powers and resources offered by the code, but also how civil society organizations have acted as complementary supplements or even alternative institutions for governance at the local level. The national context. Philippines is one of the largest island groups in the world, with 7,107 islands and 300,000 square kilometers land area. The Philippines is the third largest English-speaking country in the world and has over 100 ethnic groups in a mixture of foreign influences that had shaped a distinct Filipino culture. The Philippines is a democratic and republican state where sovereignty resides in the people and all government authority emanate from them. A historical sketch of Philippines local government. Before, we only have barangays headed by a dato. Later, rulers organized barangays into towns, cities, and provinces. In general, the power and function of local government range from the provision of basic services and facilities, revenue generation, regulatory function, and other governmental and corporate powers. Laying in the ground for democratic local governance. The long history of centralized administration in the hands of the invaders, which continued after political independence was gained in 1946, had shaped the character for local governments in the country and their relation to the national government. It may be argued that the code was not only a corrective measure to a long history of centralization that governed central-local relations in the country, but also it echoes the struggle of social movements, NGO-POs, for genuine people empowerment during the dark days of martial law. Expanded governance framework. Every local government should exercise the power expressly granted, those necessarily implied therefrom as well as powers necessarily appropriate or incidental for its efficient and effective governance, and those which are essential to the promotion of the general welfare. Democratic impetus. The spirit of devolution ushered in the code goes beyond the transfer of powers and functions or the broadening of fiscal resources. The code creates tremendous opportunities for expanded democratic governance to take root, and those should be taken advantage of a meaningful and responsible way. It is a learning opportunity for the local government and NGO or POs as they dialogue, argue, negotiate, agree, and collaborate on issues affecting the community and the people. Engaging the non-government organizations and people's organizations in local governments. So this section looks at the involvement of NGOs and POs in local governance as part by the implementation of the code. Today, NGOs and POs enjoy a status fully recognized in the Philippines legal and policy framework and in the development community here and abroad. NGOs and POs in the Philippines are increasingly differentiated according to their functions and membership. NGOs, the major functions involved in training, education, and information, particularly research, economic livelihood, and other activities. PO come from a broad spectrum of sectoral groupings that encompass farm, fisher folks, women, urban poor, drivers, workers in the formal and informal sector, and similar groups. So engaging the NGOs and POs facilitate the process of regime reorientation from our patrimonial and development state. The government is itself strengthening through a development of a proactive stance in development and good governance. That's all. Thank you.